Welcome, everyone, to Faded Worlds. A penny for my thoughts. How are you all?
Doing well. Thanks for asking.
Yep, awake.
It's always good. Makes playing games a lot easier.
Yeah, um, but yeah, I often wind up doing that particular part in hard mode. Um, I don't know why. So let me see. We were.
What do you remember?
Well, okay. So, uh, some things. There was,
Yeah. We
like,
had just finished the first two rounds of the
yeah,
game.
yeah, yeah.
And
So
you,
we had all remembered something theoretically pleasant and definitely something unpleasant.
Mhm. Yeah, I think it's a pretty good summary of it.
And
And the third round of memories is about the trauma. It's about what prompted your amnesia. It's about what made you like what gave you this condition and what prompted you to come to the institute in the first place to start this treatment. So that's where we'll be heading today. Dive into the end game.
well, I'm sure it will be lighthearted and
Very pleasant.
yeah, and nothing horrible will happen to anybody. Except maybe, a trauma that maybe a little bit of
Indeed.
that. But, if we all forgot about it, then how bad could it be?
Yeah. How bad could it possibly be?
uh,
So yeah, I think as the one with the most pennies, you're going first, Brad.
oh wow, look at all those pennies.
Mhm.
Okay.
Fucking rich.
Indeed.
Okay,
So
so I just go immediately to
you go to the table.
prompting, right? Oh yeah, yes, okay.
Mhm.
And okay, so
You withdraw something from the hat of thoughts.
okay, here we go. Bright red balloon.
Okay.
Huh.
So since it's been a little while since we played, can you tell us a bit about yourself?
Yes, yes.
What do you remember?
So what I remember so far uh, is that when I think of the enjoyment of achievement, um, I remember winning the science fair, but unfairly. Uh, and the reason that was pleasant is that at least for a moment I had accomplished something important on my own, and then that was ruined by the fact that my uh, by the realization that my father had arranged for the win due to um, having or due to having given a bunch of money to the school I was attending.
Mm-hmm.
Then I have another memory uh, of walking on the beach alone. Um, and but there was this horrible accident along the tree line, I guess opposite the beach, um, and uh, I went to check it out, and there was a person dying there. I tried to help them a bit as but it was really bad. So I called the paramedics, and then kind of freaked out on them. But despite the person who was in the accident dying, and me freaking out and swinging on one of the paramedics, I skated by once again due to wealth. That's what I remember.
All right. Then it's time for us to ask some questions, and you get to decide who. Yeah, you get to decide the order. And just as a reminder to everyone, these are supposed to be yes or no questions, and the traveler, which is Brad in this case, has to answer in the form of yes and then get to add something else. So Brad, give us your first question, or your first prompter rather.
Okay. So there was something about a bright red balloon. Hell, can you tell me what it was?
Was it being held by a small child?
Ooh. Yes. That sounds really familiar. But Mark, what was that it?
What was the first question again? Sorry.
Was it being held by a small child? This is the portion where you say yes and the decision thing is the second part.
I know. I just wanted to use the same question by accident. Did the balloon break and scare the child? Like go poof? I don't know the better word in English.
I'm sorry. So yeah, actually, I'm sorry. I screwed that up. I should have had more and then.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was getting the two parts confused with the latter part.
Yes. Do you want to add something to the first question then?
Yeah. So yes, I remember that it was being held by a small child. And I think it was. I think it was at a party for some friends of mine, and I was really out of it. I think I was really on a lot of coke. And okay, so is the other question still did the boom pop or?
Yeah.
Okay.
And scare the people around.
Yeah. There's a loud pop, and I think there was a bunch of loud pops after that that were a little bit different, louder and more final. Okay, so once again, I've gotten everything.
I get one too.
Okay.
Yeah. In this phase, everyone gets one. Yeah, so I'm gonna address that finality. Did the child die that night?
Oh, yes, yes. I think it was. God, I think it was my fault.
Okay. So now we're at the point where you connect all the answers that you got from my question, and then you start narrating this memory now that you have a better remembrance of it.
Okay.
Yeah. So start up with connecting our answers.
Yeah. So I think I was feeling really. Again, I was coked to the gills, and was feeling really kind of paranoid. My life had just gotten completely out of control. And I had this, even though it was like a friend's party, I had a gun with me. And when I heard the balloon pop, I thought that we were being fired on, and I mean, I know that I inherited a lot of money, but it went fast. I owed some to a bunch of people, so I thought this was it. And I so I brought out my gun and God. What? Cal, what happened then?
Then you found yourself with your gun pointed at this small, scared child, and you lowered it.
Okay. And so, thank God, I just lowered it. But hell, is that how it really happened?
You fired wildly, and the child had been hit before you realized what you were doing.
Yeah, I mean that sounds a lot more like the logical way that this scene has been going since the beginning. Okay, I'll just go there. So yeah, I didn't mean to hit the kid. It wasn't intentional, but I fired, and there's no way, But like a moment later, I realized what was uh, uh, what was happening, but there's no way to like recall the bullet, and I just. I don't know. That was it. Everything slowed down, but it was too late.
Yeah, and just as a reminder, that means you give Elle one of your pennies.
Okay. Here, Elle, have one of my too many pennies.
Thanks. Now I have too many pennies.
um. Oh, so I keep on going with that till I spend all my pennies, right?
Yep.
Okay. Uh, so, shoot.
You already done that.
Yeah.
Cross that off your to-do list.
Mhm.
So, I I remember that my afterwards my hand was shaking like crazy, and people were yelling. But but uh, but what happened next? What did I do, Mark? What did I do?
Uh, you dropped your weapon, and actually another shot came off and hit you in the knee.
Well, I would deserve that at least. Um, but but Kala, is that really how that really how it happened?
I think you walked up to the child because you could see that he was still moving.
Okay. Uh, yeah. He was still alive. Um, so yeah, I walked up to him and uh, again my hand was shaking and it was really chaotic. Everybody was screaming and running, and I was just standing there over the kid. Uh, and I think I did I drop to my knees? I I definitely remember standing over him. Um, but what did happen next, Al?
Um, you knelt down to try and fix what you had done by stopping the blood.
Well, of course, yeah. I mean, that would be the least I could do, right? But is that how it happened, Mark?
Um, mm, yes. No,
Yes, that's how it happened.
uh, uh, I I think just happened to just straight up have a blackout and fall over and hit your head.
Okay. Um, well, I'll keep on collecting pennies because I've got.
God, I have too many pennies.
Well, I've got two more to get rid of, so I don't think I can black out. Um, so yeah, I tried. I kind of dropped to my knees and started to put pressure on the wound, and uh, God, there's immediately blood everywhere on me, spreading out from the kid, uh, and the uh, that's I think there was a sound in the distance. I don't know whether it was uh, sirens or just the distortion of so many people the, and me being in such a weird place. Um, but uh, somebody I think came into the room at that point rather than running out. Um, and I looked up and said, I wasn't even sure who they were at that point, but I said something. Kala, what did I say?
Said, "I'm sorry, sis. I didn't know it was him."
Yeah, that makes sense, but is that really what I said, Mark?
Oh God, just me. Why is it always me? It's always just happening. Yeah.
Oh, is that what I said?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's what I said.
Yeah, I assume that wasn't just Mark lamenting his state of being picked all the time.
It can be
No.
both.
No. It was actually, I was like, I didn't even think about it. Actually, I was just thinking this as like the legitimate entry.
Why is it always me?
Why? And that's exactly what happened. I was more concerned about my own problems, uh, and saying that I raised my hands up to my face, um, and then felt the stickiness on my face, and I took it off, and there was blood on both hands. Um, and the blood started gushing again from the wound again. Um, and I I don't remember whether I went to put pressure on again or whether I just just picked up the gun again.
Are you sure?
I don't know. Um, help me out here.
You picked up the gun and you backed out of the room. And once you were out of the room, you threw the gun just somewhere out away and you ran.
Okay. Yeah. Um, so yeah, that could be it. But but Mark, is that really how it happened?
I think your thought process just had a sudden shift, and suddenly you were really calm. I took the gun and said, "Don't worry, child. It'll be over soon."
Uh, yeah, yeah. So I think at that point I knew what I had to do. Um, so yeah, I said that it'd be over soon, and I heard the siren getting louder. Um, and I cocked the gun again, uh, and held it to uh, my own head, and I guess I pulled the trigger, and but there was just a click,
Persona.
Yes, and then I spent the persona to not actually die. Uh, and I think that's I think that's when the police arrived, and I think if I'd been holding the gun out, they would have just shot me on GP. But since I was uh, since I was trying to kill myself, they just knocked me down, and I don't even know. I mean, does it really matter after that point? Yeah, I wish they had. I wish they had just uh, arrested me back uh, back before, when it was with for hitting that paramedic. That may have changed the trajectory, but no. Yeah, I think that's it.
Good.
So happy fun
Very
times.
good. Yeah.
The best of times.
So I'm gonna go ahead and fill in that cheery episode on on my little dance card here.
Yeah.
Elle, I think you have a lot of pennies.
I have a total of 6 pennies. I'm 2 away from having a very nice pyramid.
Yeah, there's one thing that we need to do before we move on from here is that because Brad, you're done with your questionnaire. We'll get to the very last part at the very end once we're all done. But you're still part of the game. You're still going to be a guide. You're done with being the traveler.
Mm-hmm.
And as usual, at the end of every round, you take a penny from the bowl.
Oh, okay. Penny for my thoughts.
Yeah, just hold on to that. We might end up needing it depending on how the pennies shake out in the next few rounds.
Okay.
But yeah, that's everything we need to do for now. So yeah,
Okay.
Elle, feel free to draw from the bowl.
Church at night.
Yeah.
Okay.
And fill ourselves. Do everyone a favor and just fill us in on who you are.
Okay. When I remember the sound of waves, when I think of the sound of waves, I remember seeing a fishing boat out on the water and being unable to do anything during a storm. And what was pleasant about this was knowing that sometimes things are out of your control and you can't do anything about it, and that's okay. When I think of the feeling of looking at the clear night sky, I remember my long-term girlfriend breaking up with me, and what was unpleasant about that was knowing that it was my fault and I couldn't stop it from happening. And she packed up all her stuff and moved out. Because we kept on getting into fights. So that's what's been happening with me.
Yeah. Good times.
I mean, still the best times, I suppose, out of us all.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's not very hard competition.
True.
Yeah, let's delve into this church at night business.
Yes. Okay. Mark, what's up with this church?
It's was it an old rundown church and there were people waiting for you?
Yes. It was an old abandoned church, and there were people waiting for me. They had planned something, and I'd gotten an invitation, and I didn't know what it was going to be about. Kala?
Was your ex there?
Yes, she was there. She had arranged this whole thing. And she was dating somebody new. Brad?
Did you already know the person she was dating?
Yes. We had gone to school together, and we had been really good friends. And then we sort of drifted apart. Okay, so I arrived at this old abandoned church, and there was a group of people there, including my ex and the new person who she was dating, who I knew fairly well. And I knew that they were expecting me, and I had been invited there. What did I say? Mark.
What, why are you here? What is this about? And what are you doing together?
That sounds familiar, but was it what happened, Kala?
I think you said, "What's with all the knives? What are we doing here?"
Oh man.
Yeah, I said, what's with all the knives? Have one of my many, many pennies. Nope, that's some words. Gotta here. Have this penny.
I can't help but not.
Yeah, I said, what's with all the knives? And everybody there were 5 or 6 people there, and they were all holding knives. They were glinting in the moonlight. And my ex said that this was about something bigger than our relationship, that this was something bigger about the fights that we'd had, and that this was something that needed to happen. And she raised the knife. What did I do, Brad?
God. Did you did you back away, but then feel yourself bumping into a wall rather than a door?
That, well, doesn't seem great, so maybe it was something else. Mark?
So they I think they want to tie you up and then sprinkle some blood around and make a weird sign on the ground and it's make weird chants while doing it.
I backed up and I found myself against a wall. Do I still give Brad a penny?
Yes.
There you go. Have one of your pennies back.
Woohoo!
I backed up from her and her knife, and I found myself against a wall. I thought there had been a door there, but this was a church that I'd never been in before. And I just found cold stone behind me. And one of the people who wasn't my ex or her new partner came up beside me and had rope and said that if I didn't stay still, that he was going to have to use that, and that this is really for my own good. What did I do then, Kala?
You let yourself be tied up, hoping that it wouldn't hurt.
Okay. Was that it, Mark?
You stumble around the wall and in panic looking for something to defend yourself with, and then you get a grip around an item, and now that you think about it, it must seem stupid, but you had a shovel in your hands and tried to keep them at bay.
Yes. I scrambled around for an object to defend myself with, and I found a shovel. What it was doing in the church, I don't know, but I was there, and that was enough to get them to give me a little bit of space. I still wasn't any closer to the door, but at least I was keeping the people with knives a little bit farther away from me. And then my ex, she asked, tell us why you don't deserve this. What did I say, Brad?
You said, I'm sorry for how things ended, but this is crazy. This is nobody deserves this.
Maybe that was it, or was it something else, Kala?
I think you tried to make a joke of the situation. You said something that was supposed to be funny, but it didn't come out that way at all.
Yeah, I tried to make a joke. Something about her razor sharp wit. And it didn't really work. And I could see that she almost laughed, and then she stopped herself, and she said, you've never apologized for anything that happened, and you've never had to face up to what you've done. And she advanced on me with the knife. What did I do, Mark?
You know, her words hit you really, like took you out cold, and because she was right in some sense, but but this was still crazy, and you didn't know what to do. And before you saw it, you were already injured and couldn't really handle yourself. But a gravedigger came that the shovel owned, and they ran away.
Was that it, Brad?
She approached and brandishing the shovel, you warned her. No, just stay back. This doesn't have to get any further out of control. But then it did.
She advanced, and before I really knew what was going on, I was injured. Then goes to you. And then the gravedigger appeared, and the other people scattered. I was bleeding a lot from the knife that had stabbed me. And I didn't know if the gravedigger was going to do something or not. What did I do, Kala?
I think you tried to cry for help before you collapsed to the floor.
Was that it, Mark?
You just were shaking and saying and saying loudly, and now you can choose what you said.
I was shaking, and I passed out. There you go. Okay. That's it. So when I think of a church at night, I remember my girlfriend, my ex-girlfriend, and her friends trying to kill me with a knife.
It's okay. You got back together later.
Legit.
Hope
not. Right. Also, penny for my thoughts. Goes all the way back over here.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it seems like I'm going next since I got 6 of them.
Right.
And let's see. As for myself, when I think of the smell of rotten flesh, I remember that time that me and my friends found a body in the woods. And it made me realize that my friends will always have my back. But when I think of the foul but slightly sweet smell of sewage, I remember that time when I fell down an open manhole and all my friends abandoned me in the dark. So let's see what else I remember. But the last day of summer. So what's going on here, Brad?
Well, Did it involve a smell of something horrible but familiar?
Yes, there had been a sewage leak in the school building during the summer, and they hadn't been able to fix it before school started up again. Reminded me of that manhole. What else is going on, Elle?
Were your friends there and more distant than usual?
Yes, and I didn't want to talk to them either. And what else is happening here, Mark?
Was it your birthday?
Yes, and none of them had been invited. Yeah, so it's the last day of summer of this whole tragic year in my youth, and school is about to start up again. I walked past it one morning, and I felt that stench of sewage again. And yeah, I was supposed to have a birthday party later, but I didn't really have anyone to invite. It was just me and my parents and some sad clown they'd hired. That's where it started. I think that's where I don't remember anything else. I was just sitting there. I hadn't told my parents what had been going on, but I think that maybe they tried to understand. And then I'm sitting there at the table, and it's made for more people than are here, for sure. And I'm just sitting at the head of it. My parents are there. They're looking worried. What did I say then, Brad?
He said to them, this is your fault. Why did you even hire a clown? I'm not 12.
Yeah, that might have been it. But was that the case, Elle?
He said, well, I guess this might as well cap off this year. Kind of resigned.
Yeah, I think that's it. I just sigh to myself and say, well, might as well cap out this year. I think put my face in my hands and eat a bit of cake. The one slice I've been given. And if my dad walks up to me and he puts his hand on my shoulder and says, "Son, it's going to be all right." And this is something about what he said, how he put it. It just didn't. It set something off in me. Mark, what did I do after that?
I think you just told him that is a lie, and he knows it, and that's everything is. You can't trust the people, and if you trust the people, you're gonna be happy until you gonna get this destroyed by all, all the rent like that.
Yeah, maybe that does sound like something I would say. Was that it, Brad?
I think that hmm. That you got a little bit angry, and said, "I shoot, I don't even know." I think he said that you're gonna need that. Uh, uh, that you need more space. That uh, you're gonna uh, go move in with a friend, even though you at that point didn't really have any.
Yeah, I think that's what happened. I realized that I couldn't stay here anymore, but I needed to go somewhere else. I told him something about like my friends wanting to throw a party for me somewhere else in the town, and I just put up with this because they wanted to make a big party out of it, like they always did. So I think they let me go, and I packed up some of my stuff, maybe a bit less than I should have. But what did I do then, Elle?
You left the house through the back door, and you went to go and catch a train out of town.
Yes, that does sound about right. But was it something else, maybe, Mark?
Yeah, you left and just went around just to find yourself stumbling upon your friends. They are not don't seem pleased.
Yes. I remember now. I stumbled upon my friends in the street. Didn't know where to go, but there, there they all were. I don't even know what they were doing, but they looked like they were having fun. And I just felt so angry. I don't think they had seen me yet. But what did I say then, Brad?
Said the least you could do is wish me a happy birthday, especially after the sewer. But I guess you're all cowards.
Yeah, I could see myself saying something like that. Or was it something else, though?
You said, "Hey, who's gonna come and fight me to my face?"
Hmm. Yeah, yeah, I think that was it. So who's gonna come out here and fight me to my face? I was just angry. I was wanted to. By now, I'd repressed a lot of feelings about them, and I wanted to let it out somehow. And one by one, they all came out from from one of their backyards. It was that's same guy, the funny one, the one who suggested that we go out in the woods so many months ago now. So he don't think they said anything, at least not that I remember. But I could tell that something was about to happen. What did I do then, Mark?
He went up to you and gave you a bottle. You don't know what it was, but say, drink or we will make you drink it.
Yes, yeah, that does sound familiar. But was that what happened, Elle?
You dropped your bag and you punched the closest person to you.
Yeah, I think that's what happened. They didn't do anything like they always did. So I had to do something. I put my bag down on the street and I punched him in the face. He fell over, just grabbed his jaw. He was just. I think somehow like, he didn't seem to mind it too much. Like maybe he felt that he deserved it. I don't know. But the rest of them just stood and watched like they always did. By now they'd surrounded me. What did I do then, Brad?
You swung on him a couple more times. And they just stood there. But on that last hit, there was a sound that was all wrong.
It's just that might have been it, but was it something else, Mark?
Well, it's when they tried to beat you up. Something in you snapped, and you don't know what happened, but all of your of those people, just of your friends, lay down in a puddle of blood when you woke up and you were standing in the midst of them.
Yes, I remember now. I just snapped. Something broke in me. Something unfurled in my hands, and I could feel an entire summer of rage boiling in my heart, and it didn't stop. Not until they were all down. So I did the only thing I could do. I left my bag on the street and I ran. And I kept running for as long as I could. And that's what I remember. So when I think of the last day of summer, I remember the day that I killed all my friends.
That was the best summer ever.
Sorry.
And then I was run over by a truck.
Yeah.
So I lost my memory from the shock. And the unending rage. Yeah, and a penny for my thoughts. Yeah. Last but not least, we have Mark.
Mm.
Yeah, bring it home.
Oh no, damn it. Okay.
Pick a card.
The smell of freshly baked bread.
Yeah, so refresh us with who you are.
Uh,
Yeah.
I'm a very interested person that always wanted to find out new stuff and learn new stuff. And I had a girl that I met that was sharing that enthusiasm to some degree. And then I was working on a drug that seems familiar. And I was framed for a lot, but I had also done things that got me charged, and I ended up in prison because I did not always go the legal way um, to do research.
Yeah, did it involve human experimentation?
Why would you even ask? I mean that for certain. How else would I know that it works on humans?
Okay. Yeah. Now you get to ask the questions about this particular memory. You get to tell people to ask you questions.
Yeah. Then go ahead.
Was this the first day you got out?
Yes, it most certainly was, and I had great plans. Um, Brad, can you help me out with a question?
Okay. I missed like the key word of what you said, Kala. Was this the first what you could have?
Day out
Yeah.
of the prison.
Oh, okay. Uh, yes. Hmm. Uh, did you feel like, even though it was uh, amazing to finally be free, that uh, things had already changed too much to go back to your old life.
Yes. There was a lot of unfinished business and unpaid debts, but I'm not going back to where I was. Oh,
Was it somebody who you had cared about before you were in prison baking the bread?
most certainly. But I can't do her the favor of can't do, I suppose, him the favor to just leave it be at that. But I will play along for now.
Okay.
He didn't know me that well before anyway, my son, so it's fine. It's fine.
Mm.
Okay. How to go for yeah, okay.
Now you start.
I'm coming out from prison, and my son actually collected me and with freshly baked bread. Yeah, he was the only one who wanted to see me, and it really it really moved my heart and paid me at the same time. But you know, there are important things, and I will have to take care of them because I can't go back to how I was how everything was before. It will never be the same. Not after they had done. Um, so I went after I met up with my son, and I had a few days with I spent together with him. Um, I made a call. Who did I call? And what did I say, Brad?
Uh, I think it was to uh, one of your uh, former test subjects, and I think even as you dialed, you weren't sure whether you were calling to apologize or to uh, follow up and find out more.
Is that so, Color?
I think you were calling one of your former colleagues, but as you were talking, the line suddenly cuts out.
Yeah, that's definitely what happened. And at the moment when the line cuts, I get a bright smile on my face, and no, I know what happened to him. I had planned it for years now, and it was only the beginning. But what was the plan, El?
Plan was to relocate to another country where the laws were different and to start again.
Mm-hmm. What was that the case, Color?
I think you knew that he would be driving down to the beach. So he would always do this at this time of the year, and you had planted some sort of device in his car that would, well, take control away from it at an inopportune time.
Yeah, that sounds familiar, and there was there was right. He was the research, the head of research from before, and there were valuable information and passwords on his laptop that he always took with him. And I think I oversaw his laptop's password before I got arrested. What am I going to do with this information, Brad?
Just remember to transfer the penny as well once you made the decision.
Yeah. I think you get 2, right?
No, I get 1.
Okay.
Well,
Okay.
I took 1 earlier, but
Okay. Good then. Right?
So I think you excused yourself to saying that you're just gonna grab some cigarettes, but you left with the laptop and headed straight for somewhere you can call a taxi or Uber.
Yeah, maybe it's something with Uber, but this might be something else. Maybe you have another idea?
You excused yourself to saying that you needed some air, and you took the laptop and you went outside, and you opened it up and you started deleting files.
Yes. That's what I did. I deleted everything that I already knew, and that they would need me. I would make sure of that. If they wanted to complete the drug, they would need me, and I know they want the drug. Also, I found the addresses of all the other important researchers. And I made a phone call. With whom, though? Do you think, Carlo?
I think you decided to call. You decided to call. I think she had been one of the junior assistants while you were still working on the project, but she has retained a position in the company since then and has been rising in the ranks.
Mm-hmm. Do you think so, Brad?
I think you called the person that you had been using before to acquire subjects on the sly, saying, "We're getting the band back together again."
Ooh. As fun as that sounds, I called one of my former researchers. She was a big fan of me back then, and she was really talented and also had the right mindset for the job. So I made sure to keep contact as much as I could, and she was keeping tabs on everything. If I could use a person, then it was her, and she knew all the stuff that I was missing while I was in prison. So I called her and I asked her if she'd like to make a new team, and if she would be helping me out with my little plan
Are you
to
sure
get rid
about that?
of the other one. Are you sure about that?
Yeah. Because your part in these flashbacks are to not necessarily to define what you're doing or saying, but just like the everything else around you. And
Ah, okay.
yeah.
Ah, okay. Um, yeah, I called her and I told she knew all this stuff, and what did she say? Elle.
Um, she said that uh, the drug was almost ready and that you wouldn't need to do much more work to get it working.
Mm. Is that so, Carter?
I think she said, "Oh, doctor, this is the most inopportune time. I wish I could talk, but I think my son just ran away, and I'm not sure like what's going on."
Oh boy. Hmm. Yeah. Actually, I think yeah that's what happened, and after after that I knew that they 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 have always been trying to get after me, always, and now they got already they stuff moving. What should I do? What would I do, Brad?
Uh, well, um, having I think you returned the laptop, but said uh, go ahead, uh, uh, see if you can proceed without me, and uh, your former coworker paled and checked it, and uh, a few minutes later said, "Fine, fine. We are getting a group together. I guess you can be in on it." Um,
Hmm. Sounds good. Almost too good. Was that really what happened there?
Um, you decide that you're going to have to go out on this alone. Um, and you um, uh, just kind of headed off to find new people.
Hmm. Hmm. I think I tried to blackmail them, and they actually let me in on their team. So that was a start. I mean I couldn't trust them. I shouldn't trust them. I must not trust them. But this is what I was always looking for all these years. This is this room, this all these ah, but all this was short-lived, wasn't it? Color?
I think so. Yes, you got back to work for a while, and everything seemed perfect. But then then there was a rival company that had started making similar drugs while you've been in prison, and they were you simply didn't have a chance going up against them.
Is that so, Brad?
So you went back to work with them, but it seemed like they were always having conversations behind your back and undermining you. So you decided that with the next test batch, you would have to take a more active hand.
Yes. Yeah. They were trying to not give me new information that I needed. They thought they could play dumb, but I found out. I always find out. And I won't let them take this away. This is my drug. This is mine. So I did what had to be done. But what had to be done?
No?
Alan?
Oh. Oh God. Um.
So what happened was
Yeah, do you want to recap?
They were not giving me the information that I needed to when I was working together with
Okay.
them, and they were doing stuff behind my back, and I couldn't let this happen. I needed to do something. It had to be done. But what was it?
You decided to suddenly dose your coworkers with the drug that you were working on.
Sounds like so much fun. But for reference, color, there might be something else that I might have done.
I think you decided to. I mean, you realized that you had to get your drug out there to get people talking about it, no matter what the cost. So you made a few calls, you paid off a few old debts, and you managed to contaminate the water supply of the town that you live in with the drug in question.
Yes, that is exactly what I did. You know why I did it? I did it because I knew how to reverse the effects, but they don't. And I have this trouble with this one condition. But if they fix it, then they can actually help people recover lost memories. And if I'm the only one who knows, and they know I knows how to use it in such a concentrated manner that you can actually drug an entire town with it, so it gets the memory back. I just need to erase my own memories, and then they have to work with me after I've recovered them. And well, I mean, it was worth a try. But maybe this is happening right now. I don't know. I'm confused. Um. Yeah. Penny for my thoughts.
All right. Everyone's completed the 3 sections on the questionnaires. Now, you must all complete the final section. Do you want to remember your past? It is our hope that by confronting your choices and their consequences, you'll have come to terms with them and be able to return to a relatively normal life. Depending on the circumstances that led to your amnesia, however, you may decide that it's better for you to forget your past. I'd not recommend this option, but it's available to you. It's a choice that only you can make. Once you answer, briefly explain why you made that decision to your fellow patients.
Okay.
That's for everyone.
Okay. Do you go first, or does
Who
it
starts?
matter,
It doesn't matter. We move on once everyone has made a decision.
Okay. Yeah, I think I know which way I'm going.
Okay?
Yes.
Yeah. And feel free to tell us.
So no, I mean uh, uh, even if I have to start over from scratch, that's better than uh, for me. That it's better. It's better to start off than scratch than with that hanging over my head. I'll just. I wish I'd never found out.
Okay. I think I want to remember, because I think that once, look, even if I do get out of here, that if I go back home, there will be the families of my friends. They will want justice or vengeance for what happened. And when they do come, I want to be ready.
Do you want to go or should I?
I'll go.
Okay.
I do want to remember my past because, well, bad things happened. I've learned that there's consequences, the things that I do, and that I should have better control over my emotions.
Yeah. I don't want to remember my past, but I will do so anyway because there was this madman, this monster who did all this in the end. He to undo what he did and to atone for it, I must become the exact same person again, which is kind of a paradox, but I can't just steal myself out of this responsibility to at least undo what I have done.
Okay. All of the patients who chose to not remember should return any pennies they still have to the bowl.
All right.
Those who want to remember their past should keep their pennies.
Okay.
Mm.
My pennies are back.
Mm. Your session is now ended. Those of you who chose to remember should have your memories intact. Those who did not will find that you have forgotten the session entirely. We here at the Institute hope that everything has gone well for you. Please join hands and repeat one final time, a penny for my thoughts. This will be our signal that you're finished and for the nurse to come and assist you.
Well
A
done.
penny for my
Penny my
thoughts.
thoughts.
A penny for my
Penny for my
thoughts.
thoughts.
Exactly as planned.
And that's the game.
All right.
Hmm.
So
That was
yeah,
good.
that's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
I just can't get the scene of Death Note out of my head where he was like, when he gets his he gets his memory back exactly as planned.
Yeah.
Subliminal, or you can't really see, but I'm actually wearing a Death Note T-shirt.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah. Yeah, I liked how we all went in very different directions by the end.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, one of us ended up in a cult. I think I have been like very solidly in like a Stephen King novel this entire time. And Mark just turned into a Bond villain at the end.
And which also surprisingly went in this kind of back flashback thingy, like more like, okay, it will have meaning, even it's more connected than you might think, which was fun to me.
Yeah.
So yeah. So do you all want to decompress a little bit more, take a short break, and then maybe talk about what we're going to do next, or what do you all think?
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah, that sounds like a plan.
Okay.
Take 10 maybe.
Yeah. Let's do that. So we will be back shortly. Please stick around.